everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Live Well podcast. So, today we're going to switch up the vibe a little bit. Usually, we speak more about nutrition, health, and different wellness topics, but they're more geared towards mental health. So, today we're going to be speaking about financial wellness. And you may wonder, how does this fit into our nutrition, health, and wellness topics? Well, financial wellness, if it's not going so well, let's say, can affect us literally, physically, mentally, and emotionally as well. So, to have this conversation with me today, I have an expert in the field, and that is no one other than Mr. Wenric Des Vignes. Hi, Wenric, and welcome.
Hi, Josanne. Thanks for having me here.
Are you excited?
Very excited.
I am so excited to talk about budgeting and finances. Do you see my face?
Yes. But I'll try to break it down. Don't use too many bank terms or jargon so that, we feel comfortable. We feel comfortable talking about finance.
Okay, I will trust you on that. But before we get started, would you like to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Wenric Des Vignes, and I've been in banking for around 16 to 17 years. Held various positions, retail banking, HR, and now in corporate banking. So I'm a corporate banking manager at the current moment.
Okay, that's really great to hear. So let's just get right into it. Sometimes you want to live your best life, but you also want to secure your future.
Yes.
Can we have both? Because I am a firm believer that we can have both. I can live my absolute best life right now and still secure my future. I mean, some persons would also say, live your best life now, worry about your future tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't promised. What are your thoughts on this?
So I totally agree with you.
So live.
You can actually do both, right?
I am loving this episode already.
But you know that we have to make sure that we do live in the moment, enjoy ourselves, but we also have to prepare for the future. So that requires a bit of...
How much preparation are we talking about, or sacrifice?
Well, it depends on your future goals. So I was now getting into what you need to do is have a plan, and planning means budgeting.
That lovely word, budgeting.
Doesn't have to be bad, but budgeting can help you, right? So where you can come up with a plan where you can have fun now, you can put your finances in place so that you do have some money that you can use to have fun, but you also have to put something aside so that, in the future, you will be able to have savings and have funds for emergencies.
So are we talking like 30% live your best life, 20% put away to secure your future?
Well, let's start from let's just dial
Take it back
just a little bit.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
A little bit. So before we get into the percentages, so you may have a particular goal in mind in terms of what you want to do in the future. So, and that's what we do budgets on a lot, right? So if you're looking at owning your own home, getting a car, going on a luxury vacation, those are future goals that you may have, but nothing right now. So you have to take into consideration that. But you do have to take into consideration your day-to-day expenses, your day-to-day living. So you want to make sure that you have money for if you have to pay utilities, if you have to pay rent, if you have to groom yourself, getting a haircut or
doing your
nails. Yes. So you have to take into consideration that. So in looking at your budget, you can do it in several ways, right? So you can say, okay, you can do two types of budgets. You can just do a budget based on what are actually your needs that need to get taken care of.
I feel like you emphasize that with a bit too much needs.
Yeah, and needs. Because we have wants that we sometimes classify as needs.
Everything is a need.
But you also have a budget where you can do it like 50 different splits. So like a 50, 20, 30 kind of split. So you could do some needs, a little bit of wants, and some...
I'm guessing the 20 in that split would be for your want.
The wants, yes. always try to take care of your needs first. So, but we also have to remember that we have to live between our means, which is sometimes very hard to do if you want to live your best life. So just remember, tomorrow is going to come and you need to be prepared.
So budgeting is very important.
It is very important.
How rigid would you say that we need to be with our budget? Because as you said, yes, we want to live within our means, but sometimes that doesn't always happen. So how rigid do you think we need to be?
Well, I would say first, assess so you have to look at your salary. What is your salary and what are your needs from that? So you need to pay for your rent, you need to pay for utilities. Those things should take priority. If you have other things that you want to do, your wants will come after. But even before your wants, what do you think other than those things you could look at doing before they want? We often forget a little.
Oh, I was forgetting saving.
Yes, a little savings. So I would say make that a priority. Right. So even before your wants, because your wants can wait. Right. So make sure you take care of those needs, and then you get into the wants. Right. But you need to get your savings in order.
So then you would not advise. Sometimes you may dip into your savings for a little here and there during the month. Is that something you advise persons to do?
No. So I'll give you an example of how having savings help. So just like you, I like nice things. I like to spend.
Yeah.
I like to have a good time. But I always remember my grandmom telling me at a very young age when I started to it, Wenric, save at least $100. Put it aside so that in the future, if something happens, you'll have something. But I was just like, you know what? It's my money I want to spend. If anything happens, you all are my backup plan. But I took the advice. I saved the $100 a month. And when I started to work, eventually I actually increased it to $200. I forgot all about even that because it's an automatic saving that pulls from your account. So I forgot that I was saving that. But when the time came to get my first vehicle, I was like, why am I going to get this down payment? And I wanted a brand new vehicle. So showroom, never driven before. So I said, okay, how am I going to get this? I don't want to ask my parents because I want to, I'm an adult now. I want to do it on my own. And something just said, but you've been saving like $100 to $200 for some years now. We haven't touched it. And actually, when I went to my officer to, check on the savings, I had enough money to pay the entire down payment.
Wow, that's amazing.
Just from that $100 to $200 that I put in that savings, and I didn't give myself immediate access to it. And that's important too if you're doing that savings. Don't set up a savings where you can easily access the money, because everything will become an emergency.
Agreed. Firstly, that's amazing that you were able to accomplish that. You also brought up a really important point there in terms of sometimes we may think that such a small amount of money won't have a significant effect, but after such a long period of time, it adds up. And you were able to accomplish something big with just those little amounts every month.
So, and I know you would hear about savings and people talking about what is the expected saving. So, when you have the best type of savings,
I'm not going to like this answer.
You're supposed to have at least around 3 to 6 months of your actual salary now in terms of coverage for your savings. This is in the event, let's say anything happens, you lose your job, you have an emergency, you're able to tap into that savings. But let's be realistic. Not everybody can do that immediately. It takes some time to build. And we all know that sometimes salaries, you have a lot of things to do with your salary. So my suggestion is always save as much as you can, but every little helps. So if you cannot if you can afford to do, let's say, $200 to $300 a month, save that.
Whatever.
Yeah, save whatever you need, because you need those savings that can become part of your emergency funds. So if anything happens to you, whether it be medical, something happens to your car, somebody in your family, you are easily able to help without putting yourself in any further financials.
So you mentioned having that to be able to use if you have any emergencies. Would you then say that that particular savings is also your emergency fund, or is that something completely different?
So they can be the same.
So they can be.
They can be the same. If you have the ability to save even more and split it up and do a savings and emergency, that's fantastic. But for a lot of people, it would just be the one savings that you can use as savings. So, and that's important in terms of even when you're choosing bank accounts. A lot of people, they open a savings account but use it as a transactional account. You need to find the account that is right for what you're doing. So if your day-to-day accounts, your salary comes through, you need to make purchases, you get a transactional account for that. You want to save, make sure that you have funds going to that account and you're not easily able to access it, whether it may be through point of sale or at the ATM, make that your savings account. So some people do what they call so directly it pulls from the account, goes into the savings, but it's not attached to your to your main account. So you can do structured savings where you have that as fixed amount coming out every month going into a particular savings account, or you can do it yourself where you do a transfer.
Yes.
But I think structured savings are better for most people, because to get that discipline is not always easy.
So certain actually transfer the same amount or even more every month.
So instead of you doing it yourself, there are structured savings plan that you can sign up for and have it go directly to the plan, and you're not easily able to access the money. Meaning that if you need it, you can get it, but it's not as simple as just going to the ATM and withdraw it.
Something else you mentioned in terms of using the savings account for emergencies, or if something happens to your car or something like that, would you then say that it's best to have one savings account, or would you suggest maybe splitting, so like a short-term savings and a long-term savings account?
So you can do it. You can do both, as you say. It's based on how much you have there to spend, basically, right? Or have there to save, I would say. Not spend, save. Yes. So you get, let's say you do a structured savings, and you can have a normal savings account. So you can do one for more longer term things and one for emergency. So if you want to save towards a mortgage, you do that structured saving where you may be saving you want to save for 10 years to have your down payment and legal fees and all the additional fees that come with a mortgage. That would be your more long-term savings. So you do a structured savings plan for that. But if, let's say, you want to make sure that you have insurance for your car for next year and you want to save towards that, you just do the short-term savings, because in a couple of months you're going to use those funds.
So ideally, if you can, 3 accounts would be
if you can.
The ideal.
But if you can't, just do the transactional account and the savings. But if you can, the structured savings it always works, and usually with savings accounts you get a bit more. It's not much, but you get a bit more interest on a transaction account.
I like seeing the interest at the end of the month.
Yeah, so that's why you need to get more structured savings. Or there are accounts that would probably generate more interest on them. So you just have to check in with your bank and then find the account that is right for you.
Something you mentioned earlier as well, living within your means. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, because as we said, you want to live your best life. And sometimes, you may get carried away, and that may lead you into some situations where you now find yourself in debt. Now, that's where you sort of, I guess, force it on yourself, but also things happen in life, and, it may cause persons to take their various loans or maybe withdraw a lot of money from their accounts, and that now puts them in debt. How would you, or what advice would you give persons to kind of mitigate or manage debt if it does occur?
So the first thing you have to do is plan. It's very, very important. Going on, a simple thing as doing a vacation.
Love a vacation.
So, I mean, when I was younger, when I didn't have so much responsibilities, I would just pick up and go on vacation because I had the funds available. But now, when you have a bit more responsibilities, you want to ensure that you're not making financial decisions
So are you saying don't pick up myself?
Don't pick up just like that. Plan it.
Be spontaneous and decide to go on vacation.
So plan it. So if you decide this year you want to do vacation twice for the year, you want to travel within that period of time, it should be planned. So it shouldn't be you're not planning, you're just going about doing what you have to do, and then bam, you decide next month I want to go, and then you dip into your savings, take all your money and you go on vacation. And then an emergency happens right after and you're in a predicament. No, so you should be planning your vacation. So you plan, okay, I want to travel in December and I want to stay at a luxury hotel where it's all inclusive. I want to do spending money. You sit down, you tabulate everything, that you want to do with cost assigned. You can guess it. You can calculate the cost of a hotel stay. All of these you can get.
Okay, but Wenric, do you actually sit and budget every aspect of it down to your shopping or your activities?
So I actually just came back from vacation.
Right, and did you do that?
This last week I was on vacation, and I actually did that.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had some stuff going on. I can't eat the service as well. All of that was going on. And I want to go on vacation still with all of that going on. So I was like, you know what? I don't want a lot of things rolling up on me at the same time. Because you still have your mortgage payments, you still have your car loan, and you want to go on vacation. Which means that you're going to splurge a little bit. So I so I bought the ticket earlier than usual. So I got it at a lower cost, right? And I made sure that my money for accommodation was set aside, and within that, you have the miscellaneous. So you know that probably going to go out to dinner 2 or 3 or 4 times, so I need to have funds there. So I saved towards those things. So when I went on vacation, I came back. I wasn't I had to eat, barely have anything, just drink a little tea or coffee for the
eat
day.
some crackers.
And eat some crackers. No. So I was able to continue going about it because I planned for that.
So basically you want to ensure that even after vacation and you come back, after all the tapping, you're still able to live a comfortable life and not have to drink water and eat crackers every day.
Of course. You have to make sure that you're comfortable when you get back so that, you can enjoy the vacation time even more.
So let's say you don't want to live within your means. You did a lot of tapping on vacation and now you have to repay that credit card, but you don't have the funds to repay that right now. How does that have an effect on persons moving forward?
Right. So a credit card is something that you do not want to misuse or you do not want to pay badly, right? So a credit card has, and goes across the board, I believe, a 3%, you have to at least pay 3% of the outstanding balance, which means that you do not have to make the full payment, but you have to make at least part of the payment. What I suggest is that if you can't do the full payment, you can do half of the outstanding, you at least make the minimum payment, which is just 3%, so that you do not get bad credit and you do not get late fees for not paying the card. As well, that will prevent your credit score from being affected. So you still maintain good credit, although you just make the minimum payment. But managing a credit card is very, very important to ensuring that you maintain good credit history in the future so that you're able to take larger loans for purchases like mortgages and cars and even vacations.
So let's say you weren't aware of this before and you did develop that bad credit history, and now you're a bit older and you are thinking about getting a mortgage and taking a bigger loan, how does that come into play there now? Is it that, you're doomed because, you were so, well, I want to say kind of, reckless is probably not the word, but you didn't manage things properly in your younger days? What does that look like for someone in that scenario?
Well, I'll say all is not lost, so you can fix it, but you're gonna have to be patient. So once you have bad credit, it usually stays on your credit report. So anything that you do, it stays on your credit report for around 7 to 10 years before it falls off or it's not counted anymore. So if you do encounter bad credit issues, what I suggest that you do is you establish a structured savings plan to show that although that you had this bad credit history, but you're making the effort on the savings and you are saving every month. It's a structured saving plan to show that you are accumulating some sort of saving, and it is structured so that you can actually use that money maybe in the future to do this, to do a secured credit facility to prove that you would be able to pay back. But use the structured savings fund and make sure whatever debt that you have that is there, you need to clear that off. So you need to work on clearing that off. So it's not just, okay, you had the card, you can't pay it and you just give up. No. So continue paying the card so that you clear all the debts so that you can work on re-establishing good credit history.
Therefore, it's not the end for somebody. There are ways they can go about, sort of rebuilding and fixing that credit history.
Yes, you can go ahead and attempt to fix. Yes, it's not the end of the world, but it's not going to be easy to get credit again. You really have to, prove yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, Wenric, for all this information. I feel like I learned a lot here today as well. So let's just wrap it up. What are 3 tips you would like our listeners to leave with here today?
3 tips. So I would say make sure and budget, plan, save, make sure and pay your credit on time. Any credit that you have, make sure and pay it on time. Even if it's the minimum payment, make sure and pay it on time. And enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Make sure spend a little something on yourself. We all work hard, so enjoy it.
So treat yourself, essentially.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. You heard him. You work hard. You deserve to, live a great life. Final question. This is going to seal the episode. Live your best life and secure your future, or just live your best life now and let tomorrow worry about itself?
No. Live your best life and secure your future at the same time.
Okay, everyone.
It can be done.
It can be done. You heard it from the expert himself. So thank you for joining us today and tune in for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.